Hello everyone, my name is Saurav Kumar and I welcome you all to my video series where we are covering Amazon Web Service Training. This is part number 21 and in this session we will be having an overview of Amazon VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. We will be having a look about the components used in VPC and thereafter we will be having some hands-on practical on Amazon VPC. So let's begin. But before we begin, let me tell you what are the practicals we are going to perform in this. So we will be learning about how to create custom VPC. We will be learning about creating a subnet, configuring IGW, configure a root table, then configure subnet, association and public IP address. And thereafter, we will just create some instance, connect that instance with some VPC which we are going to create, and then we will test it. So this is what we are going to perform as a practical part in this session. So let's begin. So here first we are going to have some detail about what is cloud virtual networking is all about, because when we are going to talk about VPC is nothing, it's a cloud virtual networking. So before I start talking about VPC, let me first try to explain you what is cloud virtual networking is all about and what are the feature it provides. So here you can see that when we talk about feature of a cloud network, we know what is network is. On premises we are using routers, switches, firewall and so on, many number of devices to have our network. Similar to that, we also have a network on our cloud infrastructure. If you have multiple server running there, multiple instances running there, to make them communicate, to make them configure with some ACL or whatever you want to do relevant to networking, there is also some networking components will be required. And then how do they work? What are the features they provide? That one we have to be knowing about it. So when we talk about features which is available at cloud networking, the first feature is it provide isolated type of network. That's the first point. Secondly, private environment in the cloud also. Even your network is on cloud, but the devices, the resources you are going to use, the router or whatever you are going to use, it will be giving you a private type of network between or among your instances and so on. Second thing is, users should have the control over virtual networking environment. So me, you, whoever is using the cloud service, they are user. So any company also, those who are having the services running on cloud, they are the client. So client is having or users is having full ability to have a control over the virtual network environment, because either you are using AWS, either you are using Azure, either you are using any other cloud computing services, they are giving you opportunity, they offer you that your user will have the full credibility, full opportunity to play with the virtual network. They can manage it, they can control it, they can customize it according to their requirement, according to their choice. Third point is, users should be able to what do? They will be able to include selection of IP address range. So it's not like the network is on AWS, so AWS will decide what IP address range they have to assign there, and what kind of network IP address subnet will be. Those all will be selected by you, and even we are going to do it practically today itself, that how we can have our own subnet according to our choice, according to our requirement. Then user will be able to create the subnet. Then user will be able to configure the root table and network gateway. So users get full flexibility, user gets full ability to do the or to perform any kind of activity which they are able to do when they are having a local infrastructure, the local network. So this is the features available at cloud network. Next point comes that, what if we are not using AWS? What if I may be using what if I am using maybe Microsoft? What if I am using let's say that Azure? What if I am using Google Cloud? So will it be like that everywhere the concept is completely different, and do I have to learn them all again once again? So my answer will be here that no, you don't have to spend the same amount of time when you are learning any other cloud environment. For example, if you are learning Azure or you are learning about Google Cloud, that time you don't have to spend that much time, because almost the concept is going to remain same. Either you are using AWS cloud, either you are using Azure cloud, or either any others, the concept is going to be same. The methods, the architecture is going to remain same. Only the names can be different. Only the term which is being used to call them will be different. But 80%, 90%, the things you will be easily able to understand, even if you are not aware about Azure, even if you are not aware about Google Cloud. So that's why I have made this presentation and I have added this particular slide here to tell you that, for example, here you see in the left side we have Azure network, and in the right side we have Amazon network. So either we have Amazon network, either we have the Azure network. Some of the things are always going to be same. For example, let's start here with, so here we are calling it virtual network. When you are using Azure type of cloud, then here it is called as a virtual network. We call it virtual network, but the term is just different. Here we call it VPC, virtual private cloud, which we are learning right now. So you see the term is different, but inside the components and all are going to almost remain same. So here we use public IP address in Azure type of cloud. Here also we use public IP address, but they have also given one more another name called as a elastic IP. Elastic IP means nothing else, it's like a static IP, a static public IP you are assigning for a computer or anything, that is called as a elastic IP. So it will be an public IP with a stability, meaning that it is going to be a stable, it is not going to be changed, it is not going to be frequently changed or ever changed. So maybe you have created any instance or any NLB or anything where you want to assign a public IP address which should not be changed, then you use elastic IP here. Then here you see in Azure type of network we have Azure load balancer. But if you are using Amazon, you have the balancer called as a ELB, elastic load balancer, which we have talked already in this training. Here also we have the subnet, where you have some network security group. Here also we have a subnet where we have some security groups. We have some availability zone. We have also here availability zones. Thereafter you see again they are using another Azure load balancer which is internal. They are also using elastic load balancer internal. So you see architecture wise almost same. Either we are working on a Amazon AWS cloud, or either we are working on Microsoft Azure cloud. Then inside of that we have again another subnet where we have some VM or availability zones running inside of it. We have network security group here. We also have security group here where we define which port is open, which port is closed and all. Like the way you have seen, whenever we create any instance, we add it with the security group, and that security group tells that what are the ports you want to keep open, what are the ports you want to keep blocked. Thereafter obviously here also we have the Azure storage. There also we have the AWS storage which we are calling it as a EBS, elastic block storage volumes. So almost you can see architecture wise there is no much difference at all. Only the names has been changed, the terminology has been changed, nomenclature has been a bit changed. Otherwise almost either you are having a Azure network, either you are having a AWS network, it is going to be almost same everywhere. Next thing is, now we are ready to understand about Amazon VPC. So we have talked about already cloud network. So VPC is nothing else, it is a cloud network with the full name of virtual private cloud. So it is used to provision a private isolated virtual network on AWS cloud. Because when you are creating any instance, when you are having any storage, everything need to be connected, and to connect we need a network, and that network on Amazon AWS we are calling it as a Amazon VPC. So it helps system admin to have a complete control over virtual networking environment. If you're working as a system admin for any organization who is running services on AWS, you will be benefited by VPC, because VPC gives you full control that whatever you want to do on the network infrastructure, whatever new things you want to add, maybe you want to add DNS entry, maybe you want to configure gateway, maybe you want to have a router there, whatever condition you want to set, you are allowed to do so. Next point is, you can also create multiple VPC. It's not like there will be a default VPC and you have to use the same VPC for all the instances and all the storage. You are having the option to create as many number of VPC you want, you can create there, and each VPC is logically isolated even if it shares its IP space. So these are the some of the plus point when we talk about the Amazon VPC. Next point is, what is VPC and what is subnet, or what is a subnet inside of VPC. So let's have a look on it. A subnet is what? It defines a range of IP address in your VPC, like the way we are having. For example, if you have a complete company here, in your company either you want to have a single network or you want to have subdivision over there. If you want to have subdivision, what do we create? We use subnetted IP address. This is one subnet, this is another subnet. So now we have two subnet. What is the meaning of subnet here? One subnet will have maybe the range of IP address, let's say the 10.1 dot something something, and another one is having maybe 10.2 dot something something. So this is two subnet now. If you are using /20 /8 CIDR value, or maybe if you are using let's say that it is 10 and it is 12. So if you are changing the range of IP address, that means you are having now two different subnets inside of it. You can also launch AWS resources into a selected subnet. That is the plus point about it. Third point is, the types of subnet can be two. One is private subnet, one is public subnet. The same like the way IP address there are. So you can use public IP address range, you can use private IP address range. Accordingly, there are two type of subnet also, private subnet and public subnet. So if you are using private subnet, you will be using private IP addresses, and because of using private IP address, these resources will not be accessible over the internet, because private IP address is not accessible over internet. Where if you are using public IP address range, that will be public subnet, and the devices, the resources which is connected to public subnet, they will be always accessible over the internet because they are having public IP. Next point is, each subnet must reside within one availability zone and cannot span across multiple availability zones when we talk about the VPC. So these all things we will have also a look when we are going to do the practical part of it. Now let's try to understand in a graphical way that how the VPC is going to work there. So let's have a look here that maybe we have decided to use one region. So this is one region. This boundary is representing one region here, the outer line boundary. So you know, whenever you are using the AWS console, you will be choosing there the region. Within a region, next thing you are going to choose maybe your availability zone. So here this red dot is representing one availability zone. So within one availability zone, you can even have multiple subnet. You see here, you have multiple subnet there. Maybe one subnet you have decided to make for private, one you have decided to make for public. So if those instances who are running in public subnet, they will be accessible over the public network, over the internet, where the another subnet where you have again some database server or maybe any internal servers which you don't need directly to be accessed on internet, you can keep them on a private subnet. So generally company do this like this way. What do they do? That actually they keep their database server or anything which is which is going to work in a back end, they keep it on a private subnet, and only those devices, those instances which is required to be accessible over internet, they keep it on a public subnet. Very simple. So this is what going to happen, that now these all devices can be able to communicate through the router to this instance. They can communicate to each other because they are connected to the same router or something, but externally they will not be accessible. Externally they are not going to work. Here you can see that same like our local infrastructure, we are also having a router which is going to help you to connect two different subnet, because this is one subnet, this is another subnet. So to connect these two subnet, you see there are two links going here, one from one subnet, one another from one other subnet, and then another link is also going to connect to the gateway. Gateway help us to go to out of the network and goes to the internet. So this is how the internal architecture of any AWS cloud looks like. They have multiple instances. Those instances are in a one subnet. This subnet is using a router to communicate with another subnet, but within a subnet, computers are directly communicating to each other. Thereafter, this router is also having a route defined, that is talking about going to the gateway and passing through it and reaching up to the internet. So here you see on the router what are the custom or main route table we have. So main route table we are having, that is 10.0.0.0/16 is local. So if 10.0.0.0 anything goes, /16 means after two groups, whatever is there doesn't matter. So here if you check in this one and this one, first two groups are almost looking same. So because of that they can directly talk to each other, that is local network. But if any other IP address comes, either starting with 12, 15, 3, 20, 100, 200, all those other different IP address, the route is defined that any other IP address with any subnet mask will be routed to the gateway, NAT gateway ID. This is for this. So now it reaches to NAT gateway, and from NAT gateway it will be routed to the router, because here it is given that 0000/0 goes to the internet gateway ID. This one, this device. And then this device is connected to the internet, so all of the resources will be able to reach to the internet. But from outside of internet, I mean like if somebody is here connected to the internet, he will be only able to access the resource which is on a public subnet, not on the private subnet, because private subnet will be using private IP address range and it is not accessible from outside the world. So this is what I have tried to explain you, how the VPC, subnet and routing route table all together combined makes a complete network infrastructure here. Next thing we are going to now talk about what are the VPC components are. So let's have a look at it. What are the VPC components are? So we have subnet, that is one component. We have route table. DHCP set, we can have separate DHCP maybe for different subnet, or maybe we can have a same DHCP to provide the IP all to all different subnets. Then security groups, and then network ACL. So these are some of the VPC components are. Among them, some of them are mandatory to have, like subnet, route table, security groups. These are the mandatory one. Without them you will not be able to use. But some are optional, such as like DHCP set, network ACL. These ones, even if you have not configured, that is okay, it can work. But other three like security group, route table and subnet, these are the mandatory. You have to have it there. Next point is, what are the optional components are, the way I was telling you like previously. What are the other optional components are? So other optional components of Amazon VPC are like internet gateway, elastic IP address. What is elastic IP address? I told you this is a public IP address which is a static, it is not going to be fixed. Elastic network interface. Some of the time what happen that maybe you have a server running there. So by default when you make any instance, there is already going to be one network interface card already there. But in case for any specific condition you need 2 interface card, 3 interface card on the machine, you can get elastic network interface also. You can have multiple network interface card on your instance. Next is, it is going to give you endpoint option. It is going to give you a peering option. Then it also allow you to have NAT instances and NAT gateway, network address translation instance, or either you can have NAT gateway. And then we have some other things like VPG, virtual private gateway, CGW, customer gateway, VPN, virtual private network. So these are some of the optional components we have on Amazon VPC. So in case if you need, you can use it. If you don't need, you can leave them blank. You can left them behind. You don't have to configure it. It is just an optional. Now, to understand this all, whatever we have talked about, I am going to use a scenario here, and on the basis of this scenario, we are going to perform the practical. Just for sake of understanding, I have tried to make one VPC here. So first thing we are going to create, that is we are going to make one VPC. Inside of VPC we will make 2 subnet maybe. One subnet we will use this range of IP address. Another we will use this range of IP address. So if you see /24, meaning that first 3 groups are representing networks. So 10.0.0. Here this is the network ID, left from this line is network, and here this is the network. So you see this is different network, this one is different network. It is 10.0.0, this one is 10.0.1. So we have 2 different subnet. One subnet I will be giving the name maybe like AZ US East. This is the region, this is the availability zone. So that is what I am going to define here. So we will be creating some EC2 instance connected to this subnet, and we will create some EC2 instance connected to this one. The one EC2 instance will be connected to this subnet, will have the public access, because I am going to use set a condition that there will be a route available for public network. But here in this subnet I will not define any route to go to the public network, so it will not be having a public network access. That's what we are going to now perform in a practical. So to achieve this target, we have to follow these steps. First step we have to do is we have to create a VPC. Then we are going to create a subnet. Then we are going to configure the gateway, internet gateway. Then we are going to create or configure a route table. Then we will configure again subnet, an association and public IP address with it, and thereafter we will check it, we will verify it by creating an instance, attaching to that subnet and checking either it is reachable on public network or not. So let's begin. Let's first go to any of the browser to access the AWS Management Console. Let's click on sign in to the console. Let us log in here. Once we logs in, we will be looking for a service today, that is VPC. So that service is available here. If you scroll down, you have to look for something related to networking and content delivery. Here is the service VPC. So either you can find it out like this, either you can type also VPC in search area and you will get VPC. So access the VPC service. Here by default you are going to see that there will be one VPC there. If you click on your VPC, you are going to see that by default one VPC is already there. It doesn't have any name there, and it is the default one. It is already created, because whenever you create a new instance, that instance is connected to this VPC, this network. So let me give this name, because giving a name will be giving an identification for it. So I'm just giving the name maybe like default VPC. This VPC is a default VPC because I'm going to create a new VPC also. So by the name I will be able to identify them that this is the default one and the one we are going to create which will be having some another name. So by default you see this VPC is having the VPC ID this and it is using IP version 4 CIDR, that is class B private IP address 172.31.0.0/16. 16 means this first two group is representing network ID and this is class B private IP address. If you scroll a bit more, you will see it is not using any IP version 6. It is having DSCP option set already there by default. Main route table is also there by default. Main network ACL is already there also. Tenancy is default. There are two tenancy type, default or dedicated. So it is in default. Default VPC it is yes. Owner ID is this. So this is one of my default VPC. Whenever we are creating any new instance, no, this is the place where we are going to use the default VPC. That is what we have been doing up to today. Like if I go to the services, I go to EC2 instance for example. Here if you go to the launch instance, no, you see when you go to launch instance, select any AMI, select any type of instance, and here we have been always getting one network, that is this one default VPC. I have given the name also default VPC. So this is what it is appearing there only. Now I don't want to use only maybe the default one, so that's why I am going to create the new VPC. So what will be the step? The steps are very simple. We are going to follow this create VPC button. So that is our first target. Create a custom VPC. This is the task we are going to perform very first. So let's go there. Click on create VPC. Here the first question is coming that give any name so that you can easily identify it. So I am giving the name maybe SK Saurabh Kumar VPC 01, just to have the identification. I'm giving maybe number 01. Next I will give 02, 03 like that. Or you can use any name which can help you to identify easily what exactly this VPC is all about. So I am making my VPC with the name SK VPC 01. Next is CIDR block information. So what is the meaning of this block information is, if I have shown you already that default VPC which is already created is using class B IP address with /16 CIDR value. Similar to that, what CIDR and what IP version 4 address maybe you want to use for your network. So maybe I use 10.0.0.0/24 or maybe /16, meaning that that will be my whole block size. So whenever I will be creating the subnet, no, that should be within this area. That's why I am choosing here the CIDR block 10.0.0.0/16. So my subnet can be one subnet can be 17, one subnet can be maybe another thing, or maybe even by using 16 you can change it different. Maybe you first here put 0, second you put here like that. So anything you can use by putting or changing this CIDR value. That one I will be showing you when I will go to create the new subnet. So right now I am just giving this as a my block size or block. Then do you want to have a CIDR block for IP version 6? So I am leaving it for no. I don't want to use right now maybe IP version 6. So I leave it like no. And then this is the tenancy I was talking about. So there are two type of tenancy for the VPC. One is default, one is dedicated. Dedicated tenancy we use for dedicated instances. If you have a dedicated instance and you want to create a dedicated VPC for that, you will go for tenancy of dedicated. But dedicated tenancy is a chargeable. So I am continuing with the default itself. Then there is a tag. If you want to add a tag, then it is okay. If you don't want, it is optional. So I click on create VPC. And finally, you can see the message, you successfully created VPC VPC ID is something like this with the name SKVPC01. Again go to your VPC and you will be able to see here that there are now two VPC. One is default VPC, one is SKVPC01. For this one, the one which we have created, VPC ID is this. A state is available, it can be used. IP version 4 CIDR block I have used, that is 10.00/16. DHCP option set is already there. Main route table is also by default there, but you can edit or change. Main network ACL is also there. Tenancy is also default. I have not gone for the another one. And is it a default VPC? Answer is no. This one is not a default. This is the custom made. We have made it. This is the default one. So I hope it's clear to you now that how to create any VPC. So the first task for our practical is done. Creating a custom VPC, we are done with it. Now we are going to look at the creating a subnet. So what is the VPC range we have given? So range we have used is 10.0.0.0/16. That's our VPC block size. And what is the name of VPC? ASK VPC 01. That's our name of VPC. Inside of this VPC, so this green one I have represented with the VPC. Inside this VPC, we need to have now two subnet. So let's perform the second task. So we go to now subnet here. By default, you see these are some of the subnets by default created, and it is available and connected to your default VPC. You see here, these all are a part of default VPC. None of them are with the SK VPC. So that's why I'm going to create a new subnet, create subnet, give any name so that you can easily identify it. So maybe I am also going to use some name, something like 10.0.0.0, and keep in your mind, whenever you are making a VPC, when you are making a subnet and all, we are working in a specific region. Right now we are in a Ohio region. So I can give the name here, maybe something like Ohio, and then I can just give any other kind of term here which can help me easy to understand. Maybe this subnet I am making for public, so I am giving the name public subnet 01. This is the name I have used. Now you see, because we are creating a new subnet, it is asking me this subnet will be attached with which VPC, default one or SK VPC. So as per our plan, you see, this is the subnet we are creating. This is the subnet we are creating. So this subnet you want to have in which VPC? So our VPC is SK VPC 01. That's why I am going to choose that one, SK VPC 01. Now in which availability zone you want to keep it? So you can choose any one of your region. So in your region, that is Ohio, we have three availability zone, that is 2A, 2B, 2C. So let me go with maybe 2A. This is what we have made. Now VPC CIDR already it is showing me here that this is what you have decided, but it is now telling me to define the CIDR block for this particular subnet. So my total block is this one. Out of that, which one I want to use for this IP version for this particular subnet, which is public subnet. So let me give the name maybe like this, 10.0.0.0/24 as per our plan. This is what our plan was. If you see, 10.0.0.0/24, this is the subnet we want to have for this. So that's why I have used here that this is my IP version 4 CIDR block, and then I click on create. So very simply, now we have created a subnet. You can see because of giving the name, it is easy now to identify. So now this is the subnet which we have made it now. Now that is in Ohio. It is a public subnet. We have decided to use it for public, Let me even add something else, that where this is available. So this is available in AZ2A. So this is our one subnet. For this subnet, if you check, the range of this subnet is starting from 10.0.0.0/24, means only this value can change in its range, meaning that what are the IP address can be in this subnet. If I take example of it, what are the IP address going to be there in this range? So very simply, as per it is 24, meaning that the first IP can be 0, then it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 100, 200, 200, 254, 255. That's the total range of this IP address, because our CIDR is /24, means we can't do any change on this previous three groups. Only we can do the change in the last group. So last group, what are the change we can have? We can use one time 0, then 1, then 2, 3, like up to 255. That's it. So this is the total range, meaning that how many total IP address are there? The answer will be 256, because 0 is also there, not so 0 and then 1, 2, 3 up to 255. So total is 256. But there is something, it is telling me that available IP version 4 are only 251. Why so? Because as you guys have already finished networking training, or you have already knowledge of networking, you know that every range of IP subnet, first IP address is always reserved as a network ID. So this one is a network ID, and the last one is always reserved as a broadcast ID, BID, broadcast ID. So we can't use this first IP, we can't use this last IP, because they are no longer being used as a available IP address. You can't use this IP address on any devices, any computer. So now we are remaining with 254 only. Out of that, Amazon said that I am going to reserve .1 IP address, I mean the very first IP address of your subnet, I am going to reserve for the router, because there is going to be a router, right? That router will be helping to connect the Amazon network. So router will be having this IP. So that means this IP cannot be also used by me. So -1 more. Then the second IP address, second valid IP address is also reserved for the DNS. In Amazon we call it as a route 53. So Amazon or AWS is going to reserve the second valid IP for the DNS, and the third is also going to reserve for the internal access. AWS internal access. So if you see, this IP cannot be used for any computer, this cannot be used on any computer, this one cannot be used on any computer, this one cannot be used on any computer, and this one cannot be used on any computer. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 computers are not in use condition. So what are the available IP version 4 are 251, because total were 256 minus 5, so that is 251. So I hope it is clear to you all. So now the next thing we can see from here, that if I scroll a bit more, we can see from here that this particular subnet is in availability zone 2A. This is the zone ID, route table is there, ACL is there. Is it default subnet? Answer is no. Is it having auto assign IP version 4 address right now? Answer is no. And then let's have a look something more. Auto assign customer IP address. So again it is going to be no. And customer owned, if I check, that is also going to be no. Then auto assign IP version 6, answer is no. So these are the some of the information we are having about the subnet which we have created. So this is our second task, create a subnet. But as per our scenario, we need 2 subnets. So let's create the second one now. Let us create second subnet. So let's go to there, give any name. So what is the name we have given to the first subnet? Let's check. That will be giving us easy to have a same type of nomenclature. So what I am going to do is I am going to copy this name, and when I am creating I am going to use the same, but maybe I just change here. This is not going to be my public. I will be making this for private subnet, and here the range I am going to change from 1, and this one maybe I am going to make also in availability zone 2B, just to have a better understanding by you. So this is the name I have given so that I can easily identify it, what for I have made this subnet. This subnet I have made for this range of IP address. This subnet I have made in Ohio region. This subnet I have made on this availability zone, and this subnet I have made for a private subnet 01. VPC, so again it is going to be within the SKVPC01 which we have made, and the CIDR for this I am defining that is 10.0.1.0/24. What does it mean now? I hope you understand. So these three groups is fixed, only this last you can change. So if this one cannot be changed, what is the network ID ending with 1 here, where the another one was 0, so they are different subnet now. Let's click on create. It is created. Now you can check also here we have two subnet, one for public network I have made, one for private I have made. For public the range is 10.0.0.0. For subnet of private we are having 10.0.1. That one you can also check from here. So I hope now it is clear that what we have done up to now. We have created two subnet. Now the third task. So creating subnet task is done. Now let's go to the third task, that is configure internet gateway. So let's perform this task now. For that we will go to the internet gateway here. Let's go to internet gateway. By default one gateway is also there. So now we are going to create a new gateway. Create internet gateway IGW. Give any name. So maybe I am just giving name SK gateway 01. Any name tag if you want to have you can add, otherwise just click on create internet gateway. So it is very easy task, simple. So now we have created a gateway, but this gateway right now is detached. It is not connected to any VPC. It is not connected with anything. So you can see here there is an option of attach to VPC. The gateway which you have made, you want to attach it with which VPC, you can perform this task from here. So click on attach to VPC. Select your SK VPC here and click on attach. So this way we are done with the third task also. We have configured the internet gateway and we also attach with our VPC which we have created already. One more thing what we have done is, let's try to verify that when I created the second subnet, we have given the name availability zone 2B, but have we really checked that which particular availability zone we have created it with? Let me verify once again. So this one, in which availability zone we have created, by mistake I forgot it to change, so you see it is also in the same availability zone. So just to have to fulfill our condition, otherwise it's not I haven't done any mistake. We can have multiple subnet in the same availability zone, and obviously the company they uses multiple subnet in the same availability zone also, so that they can talk to each other, they can communicate easily. But just because I wanted to go with this scenario, so let me do one change here, that I am going to remove this subnet because I will not be able to change availability zone here. So I just go there and I delete, and let's create once again. So I am going to create once again I just copy the name. It will be easy for us to defining the new name. So this one I'm going to make on availability zone 2B, not 2A here. And this is going to be for private. And here the network I want to use from like this range. VPC is going to be SK VPC. Availability zone, this is what we haven't changed last time. So it went through the default one. Let me go with the 2B this time. 2B, because that is the plan we have according to our scenario. And then the CIDR, as we decided, 10.0.1.0/24. And then we click on create. So we are ready with the subnet, both subnet. One is for public in availability zone 2A, one is availability zone 2B, which is for private. Now the next task we are going to perform, that is configure root table. So let's do that. Let's perform that task. So now we go there and we click on a root table. Here when you come to root table, you see by default there are already some root tables but we are not going to touch them because these are just working with the default VPC. I'm not doing anything with the default VPC, if you see. So whenever you create any new VPC also, automatically one root table will be already created. But again, I'm not going to touch it. Let it be like that. Let's create a new root table. So I go to create new root table. Give any name to this. And then you are going to choose for which particular VPC you are creating this root table. So I'm giving maybe root table 01. I have to add here like this, and then I click on create. So now we have a root table which is connected with our VPC SK VPC 0.01, that is our VPC which we have created. And if you check here, the name will be appearing. Here the router table, root table ID will be appearing all the time. Once we created the root table, one thing always we have to keep in our mind that according to our scenario here, we will require two root table actually, because one root table will be required for this subnet and another one for this subnet, because our condition is different. As per our scenario, this subnet should have the public access, but this one should not have the public access. So that's why we have to have two root table. So as of now we have only one root table, and that is given, we have given name root table 01, or just to sake of simplicity we can keep it like this also, internet, so that it can be easy to identify. Now once we have created the table, it doesn't have all the roots inside of it. How you will check the root? For that you select the routing table and go down, you check here the roots. Click on that root list and you will see by default it has only one root, that is 10.00/16, and which is locally, meaning that all computer whose range start with 10.0. anything else, it will be able to communicate with them with the target of local. But it has no any option to go to the internet, but we are making this router table to go to the internet. So because of that I am going to do one thing, that I am going to click on edit routes. One is already there for local network, so I am going to add also one more, that is for my internet. So what will be the destination IP address over the internet? Of course over the internet I am not very much sure, right, that what will be the IP address. Maybe you want to communicate to Google, so maybe Google IP address is starting with 50 something. Maybe you want to talk to Facebook and IP address is starting with 29. Any IP address can be there. So that's why I'm using here destination IP address something like 0.0.0.0, means any IP address, /0 means any subnet mask. I am going to forward such packet to where? So where it is going to be forwarded, if you check the diagram which we have used ever before, so here you see, let's come back, let's go back to the our diagram. We are making what? We are making a route table on the router, right? So on router we are making a route table that if any IP address, any request comes telling that 000 means want to go anywhere else, you will forward it to your gateway. That is what I am trying to set now on my router. So have I created already a gateway? If you remember, we have already created a gateway. So let's go back. And here we choose internet gateway. Any other IP address comes, he will go to internet gateway. And you remember we have created a gateway with the name SK Gateway 01. So the gateway name I will just choose it here. And that's how I have added one more route. I will click on save route now. And then you will be able to see that this routing table is having now routes. Two routes are there. One route is local and one, if any other IP address ranges comes, it will be forwarded to internet gateway this. So this is the next level task we have performed now. We have created a routing table, we have added the route, and that is for internet. Is it clear? I hope it's okay up to this point. So now we are moving forward. One more thing here we can do that rather than having maybe two table or something like that, we have one route table here. Now this route table, maybe I will only connect with the one subnet which we have created to have the internet only. That's it. So for that task, what I can do that, I will select that route table which you have created, scroll it down, and we have already added the route. So now we are moving to subnet associations. That will be the next task to perform. When you go to subnet association, meaning that this route table will be working for which subnet. So here you see you don't have any subnet associations with this route table. So now what I am going to do is edit subnet association, and you see these are the two subnet we created. Let me again expand a bit to have it very clear. So one, this is the one which we need to have connection with the public network, and this is for private. So if you remember, this route table which we created is going to have an option to connect up to public. So I'm only selecting this one. This subnet ID I'm only selecting the one which supposed to go up to public, because we are having this subnet association with the route table, and the route table we have added a route to go up to the internet. So I am just choosing this one and clicking on save. So once we are done with this task, we will be able to see the difference here. So now in this route table which we have created, only this subnet is associated with it, which is going to be having public. But the another subnet which is for private, we haven't associated it with this route table, and this is not associated with any other route table too. So because of that, this subnet is not having any route table which can allow them to reach up to the internet, but this subnet is having a connected with the route table which is allowing it to reach up to the internet. So because of this scenario, now everything is going to work as per our plan of our scenario here. So our scenario was to have it like that. All the EC2 instance which is connected to this subnet should be accessible on public network, where all the EC2 instance or resources connected to this subnet should not be accessible over the public network. So that's why only this subnet I have connected with the route table. I have associated with the route table. Now let's perform the next task as well. So what is the next task we are going to perform here is, so now we go back, we move to the subnet again, just to verify and just to check that these are the two subnet we have created. Out of these two, if we scroll a bit in the right side, you will be able to see that can it get automatically public IP version for address, yes or no. So right now it is telling me no. So this is one more change I need to perform here, because those subnet which is going to be working on public, I have to make sure that it can get the auto assign IP address. So I select it, go to action, modify auto assign IP setting. I go there, and I make it enable, meaning that this will be able to automatically assign public IP address on the instance who is running on this subnet. Click on save now, and let's verify once again. Scroll it in the right side, check it, auto assign public IP version 4 address, answer is yes. So now we are ready up to this point. We have finished creating root table. We have created one root table where we have added a root going for 000 to the internet gateway. Then we have configure, we have associated the subnet for the public IP address. Now last thing is just to create instance and check or validate it that either our scenario is right or wrong. So let's finalize it. Let's perform the last task now. So to perform the last task, what I am going to do is I am going to EC2 services, launch any new instance. So I'm going to make a new EC2 instance with any AMI, with any instance type. Here only keep in your mind that I am performing this task EC2 instance which is connected to this subnet. So I am first making a EC2 instance which is in this subnet. So to perform that task, when I am making a new EC2 instance, I have to choose here properly the network. The network is SKVPC01. This is the network, and the subnet is, because we have two subnet, do you want to have it in a public segment or private one? I am choosing for public, and rest all the other options as you was using before you will be using. There will be no any change. Just click on add a storage, maybe add tag, configure security group. So if you have any existing security group, let me create. If I don't have, maybe Linux security group 01, Linux sec group 01, where SSH is allowed from anywhere, review and launch. It require a key pair, L key, and now finally we are going to launch the instance. So I hope when I was doing this step you have focused that the instance which I am making right now, I have connected it to this subnet which is supposed to have the access over public network. So we will be testing it. Meanwhile, when it is getting ready, before it becomes OK and 2x2 OK, it becomes running and 2x2 OK. Let us launch one more instance. So launch instance, select, choose any type of instance. Here this one I'm going to connect also with the same VPC but with different one, private subnet, which is not going to have a public access. Add a storage, rest all the option I'm going to leave as it was for the first one. No difference I'm going to have. Exactly same steps I am following here. Even the same key I am following here. I have just changed only the network and subnet, and click on view instance. So now we have two instances running here. The first one we created, let me give the name Linux 01 public access. This one will be accessible on public network, and this one I am making Linux 02 private network. So I can't even access this. So I will not be able to show you the console even of this machine. So let's see now what the difference are going to be there between these two machines. So as of now both of them are running, but they have not gone for the 2x2 status check. So meanwhile, before it becomes, let us also try. So this PC, when you click on, you see here it has a public IP address. It has got an public IP address, this PC, because we have connected it to the public network and it is getting a public IP address. Where if I talk about the second one, you see it has not got any public IP address and it will never get also. So even if it becomes 2 by 2 okay, we will just wait for a moment to become it 2 by 2 status okay, and then I will show you, I will prove you that this guy is never going to have any public IP address and it will not be accessible over the public network, where the first one will be, it is possible to access over the public network. So if I select on it, this one is also 2 by 2 okay also, so I can click on connect. Let me try to connect it within the browser also. So here you see this guy has public IP 3.15. So it has got a public IP. Plus, if you remember, this is the subnet we defined 10.0.0 dot anything. So anything means it has given 27 IP address to it. And because of that, it is working fine because we have the public IP we are able to access, and we see here it has the, it is giving me the console here where from I can use it. It has the internet access also. And of course, without internet access, I can't even access it. So if I am able to access it, means it has the internet access. So it has a public IP, it has a private IP address also, and the address of private is 10.0.0.27. Where if I talk about the second one, which is almost going to be getting ready. So if I select the second one, I remove the first one. For the second one, which is we have connected at private network, you see there is no public IP address on it. And if I try to scroll a bit down, private IP address is there, you see, and the range, you see the difference, it is 10.0.1. That is what we have defined in our subnet, 10.0.1, because our subnet was having the range that is 10.0.1.0/24. So any IP address who will be in this network will be having this 3 network ID there, and only the last value will be different. Where for the first computer, the one in a public network, here you see the private IP address network ID is 10.0.0. Now this second one has also become 2 by 2 okay. So if I try to access the second machine, which is on a private network only, can I access over the public network? So let's try. Let's click on connect. EC2 instance, click on connect, and we are going to get an error. There was a problem setting up the instance connection and you can't access because the instance does not have any public IP associated to it. So I hope it's very clear that this is what our scenario was, that EC2 instance which is in this subnet should have public access over the internet. So it's verified. Our Linux 1 is having a public access, where the second Linux 2 in EC2 instance should not be accessible over public network, verified now. So our scenario is fulfilled. We have done with the practical part that we have created one VPC. Within that VPC, we went with the 2 subnet and we created one internet gateway. We created a root table where we have defined the root for the public network. Then we have done the subnet association and public IP setting, and thereafter we verified it by creating some of the EC2 instances. So that was all in this particular session, that was all in this particular tutorial, and I hope this has been informative for you all, and I would like to thank you for watching.